Matt Rule just does not have a clue on how to run an offense.
Luke Getsky should be fired. He should be fired today.
I'll stand by you. Micah, bro, you got smoke.
Welcome to FaZe Fantasy Live with your host, Lonnie Z.
Welcome to the show, everybody. It's your boy, Lonnie Z, and this is FaZe Fantasy Live. Tonight, we're going to be talking about week 2. We're going to preview the games, and we're going to also recap what happened last night with Tua Tagovailoa, Miami, Buffalo. As usual, with me tonight is my partner in crime, Jake Hansen. What's up, Jake?
Going on, Lonnie? Week 2. Let's get it.
Week 2. Exactly. Man, the season just flies. Before you know it, it's going to be like week 10. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot to talk about tonight. We are going to preview these games, but man, we have injuries to talk about. I mean, there's a lot of fantasy stuff going into this weekend. So hopefully we get this cast done, get it up by tomorrow morning. So then all of our listeners could be ready for Sunday, because there's a lot shaking right now in the NFL. What do you think about that game last night, man? The Bills go into Miami, they get a 31-10 win.
Yeah, it could be a life-changing result with Tua. Kind of sad to see, but before that happened, the Bills went off. You know, the Bills looked way different than they did the first week against with the low Cardinals team, and Josh Allen didn't. He wasn't the Buffalo Allens. He was, you know, he actually did what he had to do to keep the game in. I mean, they had 3 picks against Tua. They had one back for a touchdown. 3 touchdowns by James Cook. So if you had James Cook in a fantasy lineup yesterday, you killed it.
Right.
Kincaid still didn't get too much, but Josh Allen, he only had 90 yards? No, 130 yards passing, 9 points. So
Yeah.
Achane, if you had Achane in, that was a good pick.
Yep.
Hill and Waddle, not too good. Geno Smith had, I think, about 60-something yards, 6 receptions. So that wouldn't have been a bad pick for a tight end, you know?
Yeah.
But
exactly.
I just feel bad for Tua. You know, Miami didn't look good against Jacksonville to me, and they did not look good before Tua got hurt.
No, you know, that's I think Tua has some real decision making. Obviously we all know his history with concussions, and I just hope he's okay, and I hope he decides to do what's best for his health. You know,
Yeah, for sure.
And I haven't heard anything today on it, if they've said anything, given any more detail on the severity of it or anything like that. So let's see. Coach Mike McDaniel said Friday that the Dolphins won't put a timeline on Tua Tagovailoa's recovery from the concussion that he suffered during Thursday night's loss to the Bills. So that's all it is. You know, they haven't really come out with anything significant other than what I just read.
Yeah. No,
So yeah.
they're going to keep it tight for a little bit, you know, I think.
Yeah, they are. Well, let's get into some other injuries going into the week, and then let's talk about the week. One of the big stories that, you know, I'm all pissed off about is your San Francisco 49ers and the mismanagement of Christian McCaffrey's injury, McCaff. And, you know, I'm messing with you on that, but it seems like the Niners are really screwing with, betting lines with Vegas, with fantasy. I had some guy reach out to me from one of the videos, and he said, "You think the Niners really, they owe you? They're supposed to tell you, the fantasy owners, that he's not playing." And so then I just posted the rule. The NFL rule is you have to submit that by 4:00 the day before if your player is going to play or not. And they knew on Friday for the last Monday thing, but now it's coming out. They may put him on an IR, so we're not sure about that. I told you last week I was trading him. I told you that, and you know, I'm seriously considering trading him. But so you have McCaffrey, who's down, Kenneth Walker the third, he's going to be out for this game. T. Higgins is still, now he's not playing. So man, there's a lot going on just with those 3 alone. Now that's not the whole picture. What do you know? What have you heard on the injury front so far?
Jake Ferguson, he's out. What you were saying about Jordan Love, questionable now, but it's still going to be a game time decision. I don't know why they would play him. I think it's like the Chris McCaffrey effect, like last week. They knew that he wasn't going to play, and they sat him. Why play Love on the second game of the season? Yeah, if you don't play Love, you're probably going to be 0-2. You're probably going to lose, because you're going to have to keep up with Anthony Richardson and them. So, I mean, it's hard to say that, but I think everything else, I haven't really seen anything else too bad. I don't think I'm missing anything, but Njoku is out, right? So Njoku's out. And John Atkins is going to start that game. He's not too bad of a tight end. He already had, 40 yards that game? 50 yards that game after Njoku went out, or even before he went out. So that's not too bad. So I think the biggest one is McCaffrey, Jordan Love.
Yeah. Rome Odunze. He practiced limited today, and so he's trending to try and get back. And Keenan Allen is listed as questionable still with the heel injury. Keenan Allen looks bad.
Yeah, he looked really slow. Neighbors, they said his knee, but he should be back.
Yeah.
Jameson Williams still questionable, like you're saying. Yeah, if you have Chardonnay, that would be Charbonnet would be a good put this week. Good pickup this week.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't, and I do have both either. McCaffrey and Kenneth Walker the third as my starting running backs. So it's gonna be a tough one. Josh Downs is listed questionable.
Yep.
And he did log a
play.
He did a full practice today, so that's good for them.
So I did see in the last minute, I did see that AJ Brown was limited in practice today, and that was the first time I seen something all week about him. But he was limited today for hamstring.
Okay. And, in Hollywood Brown, they were thinking he might get back sooner, but they just put him on the IR.
And then I heard he might be for the whole season.
Yeah. Well,
now I heard it might be for the whole season. So they said 4 games, right? But then now I'm hearing it could be for the whole season.
Wow. So
he will not be a Chief next year if he doesn't play all year.
No, and if you have Rashee Rice or Xavier Worthy, I mean, let's face it, that kind of helps their stock.
We're just going to get more ticks every week. He's going to get more and more. They have to play him. I mean, look how explosive he was for just, that end of round and that catch. So,
yeah,
they're going to have to give him the ball.
Harrison Smith is listed as questionable for the game. That could be big for the Vikings-Niners game. He has a hip issue with his hip. And Jordan Addison is already considered out.
Yeah,
he will not be playing. So that kind of brings us up to speed. And then let's see what's going on with Puka Nacua.
He's out IR.
Nacua's so 4 week the 4 week IR.
4 week IR.
4 week IR. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I see AJ Brown is questionable. Limited participant with the hamstring. Hamstrings could be tricky, bro, especially for a wide receiver. They can really, really be tricky. So you gotta really watch that. And Russell Wilson, he's going to be listed as questionable.
They already named Josh or Justin Fields, yeah.
And they're going back playing against his old team. Well, the Broncos.
Yeah.
So
that's a weird situation over there.
Yeah. Yeah. But it looks like Hufanga is questionable for the Niners, which that could be huge.
That'd be big.
Because they're already hurt on the defensive side anyway, a little bit.
No Greenlaw.
Without Greenlaw. So that could be huge. I think that game's going to be a little better than people think, than at least the people from the Bay Area think. But back to last night's game really quickly. I got to eat a little crow. Okay, maybe they're going to do it different then, man. Maybe they don't need a number 1 wide receiver. Maybe they can dink and dust. But you're right. Miami didn't look great as it is. the Bills still don't look great, but they played like a full team. And if Cook runs the ball like that, and they fed him the rock, bro, over and over and over. So if he can run the ball like that, he looks like he's finally comfortable, right? Like he's finally an NFL.
He looked good yesterday, yeah, and he got some catches in the backfield. The Bills are going to be a team like the Chiefs were a couple years ago, like New England has always been. It's going to be hard to pick a fantasy player on that offensive team other than the running back.
Right.
And with Kincaid.
And the quarterback.
I mean, but Josh Allen, you're always going to, like last week, yesterday whoever had Josh Allen yesterday, you are
pissed.
Blowing your freaking mind right now. You cannot believe it. The guy didn't even run. Like, he didn't even, oh my God. I think he heard you, Lonnie. He said, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. He said, F you, Lonnie. I'm going to show you, right?
He gave you the big F you, Lonnie. So
he did. Yeah, but it wasn't a great game. It wasn't a great game at all. But one thing I did like is that McDaniel stayed with Achan.
Yep.
I mean, he's like, okay, when Mozart's not here, you're gonna be my bell cow. I mean, Achan had a great game, but they kept feeding him the rock too, which I was surprised, and he handled it, man. He looked good. I always worry about that guy getting hurt though. He just looks like he's gonna get hurt. But
Jeff Wilson got hurt. Well. Jeff Wilson got hurt on third quarter, and then Jalen Wright carried some times, and he didn't look good, man. He did not at the line. He wasn't breaking no tackles, and then I seen him run like maybe twice, maybe two, 3 times, and I didn't see him again. Like he didn't get. I don't think he even got past the line of scrimmage, and then when Wilson got hurt, they still weren't really giving him the ball. I mean, I didn't watch the last 5 minutes to be honest. After 2 went out, I changed it. I was like, it was kind of took the
that was
took the wind out of the sails. I seen that, and I was like, man, it's over. It's over.
I watched. I watched because I had Waddle for 67 yards. I just needed 67 yards out of Waddle, and then they take them both out of the game early in the fourth quarter.
Well, that's what I mean. That's when I turned it off. It was right when Skylar Thompson took over, and he couldn't get through that series, and I changed it. I was like, I can't do it.
Waddle starts off in the first quarter, 20 yards, and then he ends up with 41. So it was just a bad night for me all
the
around.
Whole game it looked not good. No,
he looked off. No rhythm.
No rhythm. No power under his throws. The one he was throwing out of bounds and he threw it to the Bills DB. I could not believe it. Are you kidding me?
That was worse than Will Levitt's last week with his.
Dude, they say when you throw the ball out of bounds, you throw it to the stands. You don't throw it to the what do you throw it to the stands, bro? Like he had no power on his ball yesterday. Like he was throwing changeups all game, man.
Exactly.
It was crazy to me.
All right, let's get into this slate. We're going to go through these things quickly. We're just going to hit the highlight players kind of what we think the outcome will be, and just nail through this. I'm just going in order, and it just happens to be the first game, Vikings, Niners in Minnesota in the Dome. The Niners are 4.5-point favorites on the road. Obviously, they are the better team. They're the more, they're the better team. On paper, they definitely are. You got Jefferson, Addison's out. So you have Jefferson, Sam Darnold playing against his old team. I know it's not as cool because he's just a backup there for one season. It's not like he spent significant time.
Still a story, though. He knows the offense and all that. But
yeah. So what do you think, man, about this game? Who you
can Jordan Mason pick up what he did last game? They did play a good defense last game. Minnesota.
Did they play a good defense, or have we just
going
been
in
hearing
the season?
How
but going in the season, they were a good
defense.
Defense. They were a top 3 defense. They did not
look good.
But was that the Niners making them not
surprised.
Look good? But was that the Niners not making them look good or not?
I don't
it's like
know.
I was talking to somebody today. I have no clue. The first 2-3 weeks, everything's up in the air, man.
You're right.
Everything's up in the air. Minnesota played the Giants, and they played a weak team and all that.
Right.
But
we
don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen. Minnesota don't have JoJo. Niners don't have McCaffrey. The Niners don't have Greenlaw. They don't have Hufanga. Hufanga might play. The thing is, if Mason picks up to where he's left off, I think the Niners are going to win the game. Brandon
The
Ayuk
Vikings
needs to get his
don't.
head out of his butt. Brandon Ayuk, did you see the Manning cast with all Peyton Manning's? Like, dude,
No, I didn't see that.
sign the contract, get in training camp. Ayuk dropped 3 balls, 2 wide open balls, the one in the end zone,
bro.
one in the end
Yes.
zone. It doesn't
Yes.
matter. Like he said, a NFL receiver makes that diving catch.
Every
And
time.
you drop the ball.
Yep.
We lost to Minnesota. The Niners lost to Minnesota last year. JoJo went off. JoJo went off with Kirk Cousins. I think Niners are going to win the game. But Mason's going to have to run the ball like he did last week. The Vikings have a good D, but I don't think, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I think the Niners are going to win the game. I think they could I think they could disrupt Darnold a little more than.
Well, I got Minnesota in this game at home. I think everyone sleeps on the Vikings defense. People who don't follow the Vikings, like I may sleep on other teams' defenses or offenses because I don't follow them closely. I follow the Vikings closely. Their defense is way better than people give them credit for. And I think they're going to give the Niners, it's going to be a good game. My heart is saying I got the Vikings, but I got the Vikings with the 4.5. If they lose by a field goal, I still win. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a good game. We'll see. I think Darnold's going to be fine. And Jefferson, the Niners don't have an answer for him. No one does. I mean, that's no slight on the Niners. It's just you don't have an answer for Jefferson.
It's
no
just
team
Jefferson's
really
not
does.
going to be able. So I was talking to somebody. Jefferson, with Kirk Cousins, he was the best receiver in the league last year before he got hurt. He's not the best receiver stats wise right now. Like with what Darnold is, he had a touchdown for 50 yards. I don't think Darnold's that quarterback to give him 150 yards receiving, 120 yards like Kirk Cousins was giving him. 200-yard gains one day.
When Jefferson catches for over 100 yards Sunday on you, what are you going to do for me? You going to buy me a beer? What are you going to do? Because you just said that Darnold can't get him 100 and 150 yards.
No.
Darnold,
no.
It's the system.
I said it's not going
system.
to. I don't think it's going to be like with Kirk Cousins with him. Yeah, he'll have a 100-yard game here and there, but Kirk Cousins was giving him a
100-yard game Sunday. Bro,
he had 40 yards
Jefferson,
against the Giants. He had 49 yards against the Giants.
He had 59 yards against the Giants, 4 receptions, 1 touchdown, and week 1 on the road. Like you just said, week 1, you can't, it's week 1.
Darnold's not that quarterback that opens it up like Kirk Cousins. So you're taking stuff away from Kirk Cousins then?
I'm not taking. No, I'm keeping stuff on Jordan on Justin Jefferson. Jefferson still, when he came back last year, he had guys throwing him the ball like Josh Dobbs, Jaron Hall, and Mullins, and he still caught for over 1,000 yards.
Well, I just think stats wise, I don't think he's going to be the top receiving stats wise because of Darnold. That's all I'm saying. Stats wise, if you go at the end of the year and Darnold's a quarterback all year, I think. You think he's going to have the best stats out of all the receivers this year?
Well, I'm not saying number 1, but he'll be a top 3 receiver.
Saying. I'm saying number 1 with Kirk Cousins.
He could have been
top
top 3. He could have been top 3 with Cousins. He wasn't number 1 until last year.
Until the year before
2 years ago.
Yeah.
But when did he become number 1? When O'Connell started running that offense.
I
it's
just feel
the
that
system with the players.
God, he gets beat up for no reason. He left Washington because he should have stayed in Washington, and he did good in Minnesota. I just think he gets a lot of flack, And
Kirk Cousins did a great job for the Vikings, man.
Yeah.
It took him, but he just didn't have the right coach at first.
Mm-hmm.
Once O'Connell came in, Cousins thrived that year and was thriving last year. He was looking really good till he went out with his Achilles. I think that's why I think it's the system.
Right.
And I think Sam Darnold's going to be fine. It's kind of like Purdy. You put Purdy on any other team, he's nothing. I'm not saying nothing, but he's not taking no one to the Super Bowl. But you put him in that system with Shanahan, with that team, now he's fine. And now we're talking about, hey, he's a pretty good quarterback. He's maybe number 12 on the top 20 list, could get in the top 10 this year. So I think system really matters. Jordan Mason's a beast. He's going to give the Vikings trouble because they're scheming, the way that they run the ball. The Niners are going to give the Vikings a lot of problems. Aaron Jones,
gives
you
the
know,
Niners a lot of problems.
he looked good last week too, man. If he stays healthy, man, I'd love for Aaron Jones to have a Aaron Jones season, like healthy one. That would be great. It's going to be a good game.
Yeah, he always gives the Niners problems. And look, Jefferson could get a 100 yards game. I'm just saying, with Darnold, I think he'll have less chances throughout the year than he had with Cousins. That's all I'm comparing him to.
We'll see. I call him comeback player of the year. My Homer blood is done. Okay, I'm done for tonight with the Homer.
Comeback player of the year?
That's what Aaron Jones calls him. That's what Aaron Jones said. He said, you know what? People are sleeping on him.
Yeah, but he
Darnold.
had 1,000 yards last year.
So player of the year.
Yeah, but he had 1,000 yards last year. That's not a comeback player of the year, though. Comeback player of the year is
no,
going to be Cousins.
No, Darnold.
Oh, Darnold, comeback
Darnold.
player of the year.
Yeah, that's what Aaron Jones said about Darnold.
Oh, well, if Cousins has has games coming up better, he's going to get it because he was out all year with the Achilles. So
injury
wise,
for sure. All right, so that was our little thing. Niners, Vikings, we love that every year. We got to go after each other, and we're never going to pick each other's teams because that's just not in our nature. Okay, Ravens, Raiders, bro. Lamar, Devontae. I don't like Zaire White, bro.
Zamir White. He just didn't.
White.
He had a night. He had like a 20-yard carry last week, and he fumbled. So he would have had like 80-something yards, and he just. I don't know what happened. Last year he looked way better. It was weird. Last year he looked way better, and then this first game did not look that good. Alexander Madison looked not bad. This game Jackson, like I was looking at FanDuel, he's like 8,800 or something, and I'm not even too sure about Jackson. I mean, I know they're playing in Baltimore. Raiders defense didn't look too bad against the Chiefs.
Bro,
but
they're a 9-point favorite.
I know
That's a lot, bro.
And I don't see the Raiders maybe scoring a lot of points against Baltimore's D. But Lamar Jackson, I don't know. It's hard for me. Like everybody's against the Raiders, we're picking Lamar, and he scores you 18 or 19. Like if I'm picking Lamar at 99 grand, he better be scoring me some 30, 25 to 30.
Right?
It's just a weird game. Flowers. A lot of people are picking Likely this week. A lot of people, and I probably would. Like I had him on a roster. I picked him. Andrews is up there. He's up. I think he's the third tight end this week. So
yeah, he's 6,800.
Derrick Henry. Dobbins and Edwards went off on the Raiders last week. They went over almost probably 200 yards rushing. Dobbins had over 130 yards. So Baltimore's going to win this game. Derrick Henry.
He's only 7,500.
Yeah,
on
Derrick
FanDuel.
Be good running this week, but I think the Baltimore's going to win. And on the Raiders side, I would probably just pick Devontae. That's it.
Yeah, I'm with you. Definitely Devontae if you went on the Raiders side. And what is he? Where is he at in FanDuel? Devontae Adams. He is 71. That's pretty cheap for a Devontae Adams. And the Ravens pass defense, small sample size. They're like 26th. On FanDuel, they're 26th in the league. Small sample size, though. But, we'll see.
They seem like a team that's going to disrupt Minshew like crazy. And, we'll see what happens. But I think Baltimore's going to handle this one.
Yeah, I agree. All right. So Cleveland and Jackson.
And real quick, sorry. Brock Bowers would be a good pick for this game. Bowers would be a good pick for this game for the Raiders.
Yep.
So I know I said really like Devontae. Brock Bowers, he's going to be sneaking through.
I feel like Andrews is going to be his week.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they'll use more of Andrews than Likely. That's the problem when you have two good tight ends, which now they do. They really do. They got to get them both the ball, but it's hard. A dude in my other league, he picked up Likely. I tried to get Likely as my backup. He picked up Likely. He had a pick before me. And he has Andrews and Likely. So he's running them both out there this week. And that's not a bad strategy, but he is using a flex, but that's not a bad strategy.
I would use Likely. If I'm Baltimore, I would use Likely more as a receiver.
Yeah.
Like have him on, have him, Flowers, and Andrews both in at the same time. He's
Right.
more of a receiver. They don't have receivers. They have
No.
Flowers, and that's it.
Right. All right. Cleveland and Jacksonville. You know, the big story in Cleveland is Deshaun Watson ever going to become Deshaun Watson again, or is this it? You know, because we both think he looks really bad. Trevor Lawrence, he needs to have a good game.
Mm-hmm.
He only had 162 yards. It seems like passing yards are down across the whole NFL this year. Like they're doing more run mix and little dink and dunks and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Jerome Ford only had 44 yards. You know, they did play
That was
against
against
Dallas.
That was against Dallas. Yeah.
But 44 yards, 12 carries on 44 yards, bro, that's horrible.
Mm-hmm.
That's not good at all. People were talking about Tank Bigsby. He had 12 carries, 73 yards.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. Maybe I should pick him up and stream him this weekend. It says all my running backs are all jacked up, bro. Who knows? Njoku is out. And then Gabe Davis had 3 receptions for 62 yards. That's if you got Gabe Davis, that's got to feel good. At least they're using him, it seems. 3 receptions. I mean, I think I like Jacksonville in this one. They are playing in Florida, in Jacksonville. Who you got in this game?
Yeah, I like Brian Thomas Jr. with Jacksonville. I like Travis Etienne Jr. I know they're playing Cleveland defense, so it's going to be a little rough there. But I like I said, I like Brian Thomas Jr. He had four catches, 40-something yards, touchdown last game. I think they're going to start using him a lot more. I can see Gabe Davis dropping to the 3. Brian Thomas, they had a lot of promise, and Brian Thomas could probably take the 1 from Kirk this year. Like we were talking in the beginning, he was looking good in camp and in preseason. I'm gonna throw a flyer at Ford. You know, like I would throw Ford out there as a running back against Jacksonville. You know, I've seen a lot of promise for him this week. Nobody else, though. Like, you know, you think Cooper will have a good game, but I just don't trust Watson, man. Having a rough time. I think Jacksonville's going to win this game. They need to win this game. They had last game, and they choked it.
Jerome Ford, 6,300.
I know that's not a bad. That's value.
Cheap. You know that's not bad at all.
That's what I'm saying. And it's like before that we were talking about the Vikings Niners. Jordan Mason was at 58 in FanDuel. You got to pick him. You have to. Everybody's team's going to have. He's going
to be chalked.
He's going to be chalked.
For sure.
That's just the way it is. If he's not, that's a shocker.
But he's not going to run for 146 yards again, bro.
No.
That's not going to happen. But he could have a good game. Jets in Tennessee. Now, okay, is the Jets defense good, or was the Niners just dominant? You know what I'm saying? By all accounts, they should be, but we'll have to see. Rodgers looked good.
Mm-hmm.
He looked all right in his first game back. He won, 13 for 20, 167 yards, touchdown, interception. Brees Hall only had 54 yards, so that Niner D was D'ing him up. Pretty good.
Yeah, I made it a lineup this week, just messing around. I put Brees in it. I can see it. I know Tennessee has a top 5 rushing defense coming in from last year, but
and last week they dominated the Bears on.
Yeah,
they lost the game, but it's because they were mistakes.
Yep. But I should see Brees doing a little more. But I don't know. This is another game that it's like, was that the real Jets last week, or was the Niners just that better, or what? I mean, what happened? I would probably play like Garrett Wilson. I like playing Pollard this week. Of what like
I do too.
Mason had 140 yards. I'm playing Pollard.
You got to run Pollard. You have to play.
I'm playing Pollard. What he did, you have to. Until the Jets defense tells us that
they're good.
It shows us that you better not play the running back against us or play players against us. Then that's pretty much it. Calvin really did not have
6,700.
I played Pollard, Ford, Mason. Ridley did not have a good game last week. Levis had a good game until the third, fourth quarter. I'm going to pick the Jets to win this game. If they go 0-2, the world's going to crash. Think
I'm
about
with
it.
you.
If they go
like
0-2,
the Jets,
New York.
New York's going to go crazy.
Crazy.
The world's going to go crazy. They are 3.5-point favorites. But remember what we said coming into that game last week. We thought that Tennessee could upset the Bears because all the hype was on the Bears. Mm-hmm. And Tennessee, their offense looks different. Levis just needs to get his stuff together and stop looking like he's a rookie. He's not a rookie anymore. Come on, kid.
They had that game.
Get your stuff together. Yeah.
They had that game.
So this might be a tight game, man. But I'll roll with the Jets on this one too.
Me too.
I think they should be able to get the win because you're right. If they lose 2 in a row, Aaron Rodgers is going to ask for a trade.
Yeah, they lose 2 in a row. It's gonna be pretty crazy. It's gonna be pretty crazy.
Carolina and Chargers. I got Chargers and the 3.
I got Chargers also. I got Chargers also. I got J.K. Dobbins. This is another running back. Look, man, you see what he did against the Raiders. Raiders defense, to me, it didn't look too bad. He had 2 big runs over 40 and 50 yards. Kamara had a great game against Carolina. I'm going with J.K. Dobbins. Herbert,
I agree.
Herbert's cheap, but Herbert just, they have to figure out the receivers and all that. But I got the Chargers. On the Panthers side, I'm not touching nobody. I would go with J.K. Dobbins and maybe Herbert if you want to take a flyer at a cheap quarterback. But I got J.K. Dobbins pretty much only on that. Right
J.K. is
and maybe San Diego's defense and maybe L.A.'s defense, the Chargers defense. Honestly,
yeah. J.K. 68, and he's a guy I had targeted in all my drafts, but I just missed him every draft.
Really?
I wanted him because think about his career, man. If he isn't hurt, he's badass.
I know,
but he gets hurt, and that's what
it makes everybody.
But when he's healthy,
yep.
So if he stays healthy, he can be a top fantasy running back this year if he can stay healthy, especially with Harbaugh calling the shit over there. I mean, he wants to have a good running game and a good defense. That's what Harbaugh's all about, and so there'll be plenty of opportunity. And if Gus Edwards doesn't get things in gear, he'll be left behind. Seattle versus New England.
This is in New England. This game is New England, right?
Yeah, it's in New England. New England gets 3. So Seattle is come in at the favorite by 3. Seattle had a good week 1. Kenneth Walker looked great in week 1 until he got hurt. He looked like, okay, yes, this is the guy, finally. Ramondre looked great.
Ramondre looked great. And Seattle's defense
Cincinnati.
And Seattle's defense didn't look too bad, but I'm running with him. I'll run Ramondre.
Yeah, I'd run Ramondre too. But Seattle's defense did shut down Williams, Javonte, but until I see Javonte do something, I drafted him too, man. Until I see him do something, I just can't get excited about him. Yeah, but there's not much in this game. We'll see how they run their receivers, with Geno Smith and Jackson Smith and Jiba, DK. But Tyler Lockett, man, everyone was sleeping on Tyler. He had 6 receptions, 77 yards, so he was their leading receiver last week. But yeah, there's not much in this game fantasy-wise, but you can run Ramondre if you want to try Tyler Lockett because maybe him and Geno got something. He's cheap, but I would I like Seattle. I like New England in this game, actually.
I actually like New England too. I actually like even pick New England's defense, being at home at like 3,500, taking a chance at that. That's how you win these big tournaments. And I like Ramondre. Seattle, Charbonnet would be good because he's cheap. But New England's defense played Cincinnati really well. They played him really well. Shut down Joe Burrow, and Moss and them didn't really have a great game. So, I got New England.
Yeah, Zach Charbonnet 6,300, and like we said, Kenneth Walker's probably not going to play. He's doubtful, but he's probably not going to play. So, Charbonnet, if you have him, get him off your bench and put him in your lineup because he's getting all the stuff this weekend. All right, New Orleans is playing the Dallas Cowboys in Texas. Dallas is a 6-point favorite. It's funny, you blow a team out, you score like 47 last week, and then you're the dog the very next week. But that makes sense because they were playing the Panthers and now they're playing a real defense and a real team.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Kamara had 15 carries for 83 yards and a touchdown, but he's still, I mean, I know there's going into that game, a lot of people were saying Kamara. And he proved it. Yeah, he got, he is a good fantasy game, but I don't think he's doing that against this defense. And then Elliott, bro, Rico Dowdy's got to take over that backfield sooner or later, bro.
I know.
Because Elliott had 40 yards, 10 carries, 40 yards, a touchdown. That's 4 yards a carry. That's not a bad average, but, Shaheed, 73 yards and a touchdown. He's a boomer bust guy, bro.
Yep, for
boomer
sure.
bust. CD just getting his feet wet. After all that hard work negotiating that contract in the offseason, 5 for 61, and Dak only had 200 yards, 19 for 23 after he got his bag, but 3 touchdowns, only 2. That's what I'm talking about. Only 200 yards. They're playing against a tough defense. Who do you got in this game, man? I got Dallas.
Play Dak, CeeDee Lamb, Jake Ferguson's out. The running backs, I wouldn't touch them. I wouldn't touch nobody on Seattle playing Dallas' D. I don't see Carr's going to be what it was last week. So I got Dallas.
Yeah. No, yeah. I'm with you on that. All right, let's get to the Giants. New York, big city of dreams. Washington, New York. They're both over, 0-1. They start off the season with a loss. If I'm looking at these two teams, I'm a little more excited about Washington than I am New York.
Same here.
I want to see Neighbors have a good day. I really do. I want to see what this kid really can do. I hope Daniel Jones gets going. But Jaden Daniels, man, he looked poised, like we said. I mean, he only had 184 yards passing, but he might be a fantasy quarterback. You know what I'm saying? Like a bona fide. Every week you really consider playing him and what have you.
78. He's 7,800 this week. Just with him with receivers wise, I'm kind of frustrated. I was kind of having a hard time. I was looking.
Mm-hmm.
This could be a game that McLaren could break out because they were saying how good he looked with Daniels this year. I have Washington. I would pick Neighbors. I would have Neighbors in the lineup. I would have Jaden Daniels. I would have McLaren. And for anybody that needs a tight end and you're hurting, and let's say you had Ferguson, you had Njoku. I know you guys are gonna be shocked, but Zach Ertz was in pretty much every series last week
and looked good.
And he had 30-something yards, and he's always been that guy. He's gonna get the ball thrown to him. So if anybody needs just that, you're going to score a couple points, because tight ends are not doing that good this year in the first 2 weeks. I mean, we haven't been done the full week, second week, but tight ends are not.
Nope.
So I got Washington to win this game.
Yeah, Jaden Daniels, man, is 7,900 on FanDuel.
I like it, to be honest with you.
But there's so much value on FanDuel this week, bro, in the running backs and wide receivers, like in the 6,000s, that picking someone like Jaden Daniels, or even going all the way up to Anthony Richardson or Patrick Mahomes, if you wanted to, you know what I'm saying? You could do that this week.
Well,
this is
I was actually looking at receivers, and I'd rather pick receivers that are in the 6,000s than in the 8,000s, to be honest with you. Well,
exactly. You got Xavier Worthy.
About matchup wise.
Yeah.
Brian Thomas Jr. is like at $6,000 or $5,000 or something. It's like, dude, I really was looking, and I was like, man, I would probably look stupid with all my receivers under $6,000, taking a flyer on it.
They can all, yeah, man. I'm with you. I'm with you 100% on that one. But so we both got Washington in that game, and we just think that it's just going to be too much for. You think Daboll's on the hot seat, bro? Say week 6, they limp in 2-4. You think the New York media is going to be like, the lynch mob's going to be there, like, get the hell out of town? You lost the weight, great, but I don't care.
I think Daboll's more in a hot seat because he picked Daniel Jones over Saquon Barkley. So they don't win the games. I think that's more the reason why they're going to get rid of him, more than them not making playoffs, to be honest. He picked Daniel Jones over Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, but he doesn't have all the say on that, man. Not unless he's the general manager,
But you know how much money they gave Daniels? They gave Daniels a lot of money for 2 years or 3 years.
Daniel
They could have gave them
Jones.
Daniel Jones.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That's the GM's job, man. But you think he just had that much influence? Like,
100%.
I'd rather have a quarterback.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, well, it could cost him. This next game should be good. Tampa Bay and Detroit, man. That should be a good game.
Good game.
Two good teams. It's funny. Detroit is a 7.5-point favorite. I'm wondering why it's that lopsided when these two teams historically play each other tough. Ever since Baker got there last year, or this is his second year at Tampa Bay, right? Or was it second year?
Second
His third
year.
year. Is this his second year or third year at Tampa Bay?
Is it?
I think it's his was last year his first year in Tampa Bay?
Yeah, because Tom
Hold on,
Brady
man.
retired. Yeah. Yep. It was his first year last year.
Yep. So he looked good. I think he looked comfortable. I think he's going to be fine. This is going to be a better game than I think people think it's going to be. But I'll tell you what, I know who I expect it to get off. And if I was going to pay up, I'd pay up this week for Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Me too.
They didn't use him last week. It was, and this guy wants the ball, and they're going to get him the ball. Dan Campbell loves this kid. He's getting the ball this week, man.
Yeah, and I would think so, and I would hope they would still use Jameis Williams, the same as he did last week. I hope that it's not, I hope it's not like, okay, it's your turn this week and then not you this week. I think they both need to use him. I think Laporta's going to have a good game this week. Expensive as heck though this week though. He's expensive. I don't, I don't like paying
$7,900.
I don't like paying almost $8,000 for tight ends, especially how tight ends are doing right now.
Man, Trey McBride looks cheap, $6,200.
Kelsey's at what? Kelsey's at like $8,000. I thought I seen one of somebody
74.
74. It's crazy.
Yeah, Laporta is the most expensive.
Laporta's
yeah, man,
you're
right.
But Tampa Bay, I would still run with Mike Evans. Otten didn't have Kate Otten didn't do nothing last week. Yeah, I mean, I think it's gonna be a shootout. I think it's gonna be a shootout. But
I like the Bakers Evans stack, bro. What do you think about that?
Man, I know it's just so hard to trust that guy. Yeah.
Who, Baker?
It's just playing Detroit. Detroit has a lot of holes. Detroit has holes, but I think Detroit's going to win this game, though. I really do.
Too.
I really
agree.
Yeah, I think Detroit's going to win this game.
Yeah, so it should be a good one. I probably would, and Godwin looked good. They look like he looks healthy.
Good. Godwin looked
8
good.
for 83 and a touchdown.
Montgomery Gibbs, that's a toss up. That's you're pretty much taking a chance on either of them of who's going to get the more of the touches. So, but I got Detroit though to win it.
Yeah, and about Jameson, man, I think they have special plays specifically for him. Mm-hmm. So I think they'll still use that, but St. Brown's got to get more love in this one. All right, so Green Bay and Indy. Anthony Richardson takes his show on the road, and Indy is a favorite, man. They're 3-point favorites.
Yeah, I think they have.
So, Jordan Love, like you said, he's questionable, which to me is kind of crazy that they're even entertaining that thought that he's just questionable. Didn't practice this week, but is listed as questionable for Sunday's game at Indianapolis. And then it says the lack of practice participation doesn't bode well for Love's chances of playing. I don't think he's going to play. They haven't. If you drop the first 2 games of the season, your season isn't over. You could rebound from that. No. But if you lose this guy for the rest of the season, your season's over. 100%.
I wouldn't take a chance on it. I wouldn't take a chance on it. I would give a chance on their defense. Defense not too bad. Josh Jacobs run them, but I wouldn't take a chance on him,
Ask Mike what he thinks. Ask Mike.
Mike. I wouldn't take a chance on it this week. I did talk to Mike about it, and I think he agreed. I think he agreed on it. Why take a chance on this second week? Malik Willis is, I think if anybody, I would take Josh Jacobs. I think they're gonna have to run the ball with them a lot. They're gonna do a lot of dinking. I would take Jaden Reed because Reed's a little 5-yard slant guy. Deep passes probably going to hurt Malik. I would take Anthony Richardson. I don't care who he's playing. I'm taking Anthony Richardson. Jonathan Taylor. I would take Jonathan Taylor. I mean, you see what Saquon did to him last week. Did to Green Bay's run defense. I would pick Jonathan Taylor, and I see Michael Pittman having a good game. He didn't have a great game last week.
Yeah.
And I picked the Colts.
Yeah, I got the Colts too. Jaden Reed, man, he's kind of banged up, calf and shin, and he was limited in practice, so he's questionable. That would be big if he's not in the game. His dynamic's different, bro. His dynamic's different than every other receiver on that team. Christian Watson, you got the stretch the field guy.
Yeah.
And he'll go across the middle. But Jaden Reed, man, like you mentioned it, if you throw him a 6-yard in, he could turn that 70 to the house. You know what I mean? I mean, he's just that kind of guy.
Oh, yeah,
so
for sure.
They're really going to need him. But I don't think if they don't have Love and their running game can't really get going, they got to deal with Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson's a man, bro. And he's going to do what he does. He'll have his 20-plus fantasy points no matter what. If he stays healthy, he's going to be fine. I have Indy in that game too, man. I think Richardson and the boys are going to handle the business. All right. LA Rams versus the Arizona Cardinals in Arizona. It's in Glendale. In this game, I would say I'd take Kieran Williams. I would take Cooper Kupp. I wouldn't take Greg Dortch this week. I'd take Trey McBride this week. I'd play Trey. Depending on what Murray costs, I may play Murray from a fantasy perspective, at home, the home opener. And I don't even know if I'd mess with the kid yet, man. I'm not messing with the kid until I see him do something. Or they give him a game plan around him. He's 6,500, Marvin Harrison Jr. So that's who I would take, and I think the Rams are going to come in, and I know where we're at.
I know,
but I think the Rams are going to come and beat the socks off these guys. I just do, man.
I like the Stafford, Williams, and Kupp stack.
Like the triple,
I kind of like it. I do like it. Don't sleep
7,500.
Don't sleep on Tyler Johnson, the receiver that's taken over for Nakua. He had some good 70, 80 yards last week with, after Nakua got out. Cardinals, I don't see the Cardinals slowing down the Rams that much. I know the Rams only against Detroit 17. I could see the Rams opening up. The Rams offense did not look bad last week. They just it was a good game. It was just a good game. But I like the Stafford, Kieran Williams, and Cooper Kupp stack. They're not slowing down Cooper Kupp. You seen what he did last week? The Cardinals, I do not see the Cardinals slowing down Cooper Kupp.
Bro, Kupp looked like what we were talking about.
Hey, man. Cardinals, you guys slow down Cooper Kupp, all the power to you. And I'll come out, I'm not even talking bad about you guys, but you guys stop them. Hey, good. That was, awesome. But I can see the Rams, like you said, I can see the Rams rolling because the Bills beat them 28-3 in the second half. 28-3. I was telling somebody today at work, and he's a big homer, Arizona homer, and he even agreed with me. He was like, "Yeah, you're right. The Bills won 28-3." So I got the Rams.
Bro, Tyler Johnson, you mentioned Tyler Johnson.
Yes, sir.
7 targets, 5 receptions, 79 yards. He's $4,000. This is the kind of guy that can win your slate for you.
Yes, sir.
Tyler Johnson. You heard it here first by Jake Hansen on Phase Fantasy Live. We're rolling with Tyler Johnson this week, baby. Let's go.
Well, that's a late
Show
slate.
Me the
though.
money.
That's a late slate, baby. But that's a late slate. But hey,
I'll have a little something on that one.
We might have to do the late. I know. Hey, I'm telling you.
Yeah, man. That's that right there. Yeah. Because DeMarcus Robinson's next in line, he's going to be the number 2, but the number 3, and they run a lot of 3 receiver sets, and it did look like Stafford has some chemistry with that guy. So yeah, you never know. I'm gonna check my ESPN and see if he's available, man.
Well, I picked
From
him up
my
in our
other
league.
league because
I picked him in ours. I picked him up in
I-
ours.
Did you? Yeah. So
Him and Josh Downs. I picked up Josh Downs too. Josh Downs.
Yeah, Josh Downs coming back.
Josh Downs
Yeah.
coming back, bro. That's Anthony Richardson. You know what I mean?
Yep. All right, Pittsburgh, Denver. Wow, Pittsburgh, Denver. So the two quarterbacks, are going back to Denver, and yeah, this is going to be kind of interesting. I got Pittsburgh in this game.
Okay.
They're 2.5 point. They're 2.5 point favorites. Until Denver shows me that they're competent and Bo Nix is I just have to remember who runs that defense in Pittsburgh and who TJ Watt is. Low scoring game, smash mouth. These are the kind of games Mike Tomlin wins. I don't really have any fantasy guys that I would run out there like thrilled about in this game.
No,
I really don't. I mean, there's not one that I could really say, yeah, maybe George Pickens, 6 receptions, 85 yards. That's pretty good,
George Pickens is one that I would say. Pittsburgh won last week because of their defense. I think if Pittsburgh wins this week, it's because of their defense. But I got Denver. I think Sean Payton will have him playing a little bit better. I think Bo Nix will play a little better. But Pittsburgh's defense looked really good, and they have played good. I got Denver to win. You could throw Najee out there. Najee, Jalen Warren, if they use Jalen Warren like they did last year, and they're supposed to. But other than that, George Pickens, I would say, is the only one I would probably play for sure, be honest. And I would play Najee, be honest. I would play Najee. But I got Denver to win this game, though. I think they're going to get this one. Because, the way I seen how Pittsburgh played last week, they had 6 field goals. That's all they had. They won because of their defense, and I think if Denver could score 17, I think they'll end up winning that game.
Bo Nix, 26 for 42, 138 yards, 2 picks. He didn't look good. And
they're going to be at home, right? So they're going to be at home, or they're in Pittsburgh. They're going to be at home. So I think, so we'll see.
I got Pittsburgh. Defense travels. I just think this is the kind of game that
for sure. He struggled, and you know what? You're probably right. He struggled against Seattle's defense. Yeah, Seattle's defense got McDaniels now as a coach, or McDonald, and he had a great defense with Baltimore. So, but I think Denver's going to win this game.
Kansas City, Cincinnati. It's always the big game. Right, Burrow, Mahomes, always Burrow Wood. Remember that? Burrowhead or whatever is. Burrowhead Stadium.
Not hard to play in or whatever, right? Oh, I could win. Right?
Yeah, and they are playing in Burrowhead again. In Kansas City.
It just doesn't seem the same, man.
Cincinnati doesn't seem the same, right?
Yes, sir.
No, they don't. They don't. And it could be because you have selfish people. And, bro, I know it's a business, but I watched, and I know I keep coming back to JJ, but I watched Jefferson last year, bro. He didn't get his contract before the year started. And he just said, you know what? Those things will work out. I'm going to go play and be the best for my team. I don't see Jamar Chase doing that. Jamar Chase wants to be paid better than any receiver, and he's done a really good job when he's on the field, but he hasn't done what he wants to get paid for yet. And so I think it's trickling down the whole team. Him and Burrow, obviously they have, a connection. They played together in college and in the pro, so it shouldn't be long for them to get that chemistry back. And he didn't look bad last week, 6 receptions on 6 targets, 62 yards. So, but you're right. Something doesn't look right with that offense. And maybe it's because you lose Boyd and T, bro. Those dudes, defenses had to prepare for all of their receivers last year. Now they just have to watch Chase.
Joe Mixon's gone.
Yeah, Mixon's gone. They don't have the kind of running game. Who knows? I think Chase Brown could be really good, but they just don't seem to be used. I don't know, man. I don't know. Mahomes is too good. Mahomes, Pacheco. You could throw Pacheco, Mahomes, Rice, Worthy, any of the Kelsey. You could play any of those, and you're going to be all right. You can play Chase. You could. I wouldn't play Burrow, man.
Mm-mm.
I just would not. 21 for 29 is not bad. That's over 70%, but 164 yards. Doesn't have anyone to throw it to other than Chase. So Zach Moss, 9 carries, 44 yards and a touchdown. Chase Brown should get him.
Yeah,
he should run him down soon.
No, I agree with you
about it.
I agree with you. Like everything you said, I agree with you. Play everybody. What he just said about the Chiefs. Everybody, Pacheco, Mahomes, Worthy, Kelsey, Rice. I would play everybody on the Bengals side. Chase. I just don't know about Burrow myself. I don't, and it's not the same. Like I want to pick Cincinnati to win this game,
right?
And like my first thought, Cincinnati. I just think Cincinnati would fight them and play a good game because Cincinnati always plays the Chiefs hard. But I'm gonna have to just pick the Chiefs. I'm not even gonna take a chance. I know this ain't for nothing, but Chiefs gonna win this game.
Yeah, I'm with you. Chicago and Houston, the Sunday night game. They're Houston's 6.5 point favorite. It's in Houston. That Bears defense is good, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's good. If any defense could slow down this offense, that Bears defense could give CJ Stroud some problems. I mean, CJ didn't look sharp yet last week.
No.
But I think he will. I think he's going to be fine. I like Houston to win this game. Who do you have out of this game, though? What players, what's your take on it?
Players wise, Nico, Diggs. I'm not gonna take Dell this week. I'm gonna take Joe Mixon. What he did last week, it's gonna be hard for me not to pick Joe Mixon. It's like anything else. It's like we talk about Jordan Mason, it's about guys that went off. You're not gonna just not pick him the next week. You have to.
30 carries, 150 yards.
Yeah, 100. I mean, come on, you have to pick the guy. CJ Stroud, I'll pick CJ. The Bears, I don't know. Dunze's sore, hurt. Keenan Allen looks like a tight end. Running like a tight end. I don't think he's going to make the whole year this year, to be honest. I don't see him making 10 games. He's already got heel problems. DJ Moore, Swift. I don't have no trust in Swift. I didn't have trust in him last week, and look what he did.
Yep.
Caleb Williams, Thursday or Sunday night football night. Caleb, he came out and did say, "Hey, I got to get better. I have to play better. This is not college and all that." He came out and said, "Hey, man, I didn't, play to par." I'm honestly not going to pick anybody from Chicago. If you want to take a flyer on their defense and flip a coin and say, "Hey, take a chance," I wouldn't against Houston's offense, but pretty much everybody on Houston, what I said, and I got Houston to win this game. I got Houston to win this game by 10.
I'm with you, man. I think it's going to be lopsided, and for all the reasons that you said, I do think that they may give Dell a little more love this week. I think they're going to try and spread it around. But you know what they did, man? They just really started running the ball.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you didn't see that last year, 30 carries for any of their, whether it was, who was it last year? It was
Pierce and Singletary.
Singletary. Yeah. Yeah, you didn't see any of that.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't running a guy now that they have Mixon.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, and Caleb, until he shows me something in the NFL,
true.
We'll just have to see because these defenses are tough up here.
Mm-hmm.
And the Monday night game, it's Saquon Barkley, man. Philadelphia Eagles, Atlanta Falcons. I like Philly in this game. They're favored by 6.5 points. They're at home. Their home opener. Kirk Cousins, I expect him to look better this week.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts looked kind of he looked kind of bad. He had 2 interceptions, but his numbers aren't bad. 20 for 34, 278 yards, 2 touchdowns. But he didn't look like clean yet. And, week 1. Bijan, 68 yards, 18 carries. Ray McLeod was there. Bro, that was your 4th string receiver in San Francisco, bro. Ray McLeod, 4 receptions, 52 yards, was their leading receiver. Why? So we'll just have to see. And then AJ Brown, he's kind of banged up. You're right. He did show up on that list, and we did talk about what's going on with him in the beginning of this podcast. 5 receptions, 119. I expect Devonta Smith to have a better game. And Goddard looked good, man.
Yeah, he didn't have.
He did.
Yep.
He looked good.
He didn't have a bad game at all.
Yeah. What are you thinking?
Atlanta. I think Atlanta.
You like Atlanta?
I got Atlanta. I think Cousins is going to snap out of it because I heard an interview about Atlanta today, or about I heard an interview from Kirk Cousins today, and he was like, you know what, I did feel stiff, had a hard time, on the back foot and all that. But he goes, it's just rust. It just, I'm just stiff. First game back. He goes, we made some mistakes, but he's like, we had that game all the way up to the end. We had a chance to win the game at the end, and I made a bad mistake. We had some personnel problems and all that in the inside and all that. And I, like I seen Bijan run. I seen some of the times that he had the ball. He looked fierce. He looked strong. I just think, Pittsburgh's defense was a little too much for the first game to get it to get somebody like we talked about 2 weeks ago or a week ago about Cousins is in Russ. He hasn't played in a whole year. He had to do no preseason. He hasn't played with his team at all, and it showed last week. And I think this week against Philly, I think Atlanta's going to win this game. And Atlanta has a little better defense than everybody is talking about, And like you said, Hurts had a little, Hurts, and it sucks for Hurts too because when anything's happening, it's about Sirianni. That's all they're talking about is Sirianni, Hurts. That's all they talked about this past week. If the Eagles don't win, it's because Sirianni and Hurts and Sirianni. So, A.J. Brown, hopefully he could play. If he plays, I would play him. You got to play Hurts because the tush push. Devontae Smith, I think he's going to have a good game this week. You're right. And Saquon, I would still throw a flyer at Saquon, but I like Bijan Robinson this week.
Yeah,
I like Bijan on the Falcons side. I wish I could say, hey, I like Drake London, but like you said, McLeod led the team in receiving. So Pitts had a touchdown last week. He had, he showed up.
Yeah,
So,
I would expect a little more from Pitts and London this week. I would think they'd get more than they got last week.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, Josh Jacobs got shut down by those big boys up front. And I don't know how they're going to scheme up Bijan to get him free. But
well, Josh Jacobs had
Eagles,
88 yards. He had 88 yards rushing. I think Bijan will have a little better than that, to be honest.
But it didn't look like
no, it didn't.
Yards. It looked like he worked hard for everything he got.
Yeah.
And that's what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it should be a good game. I do like the Eagles at home. They're just that kind of team, man. And I know that you don't ever pick the Eagles because you hate them. Probably more.
No.
Do you hate them more than the Cowboys, or who do you hate more, bro? The Eagles
Cowboys.
or the Cowboys? Being a Niner
Cowboys.
fan, okay, all right, that's fair.
And
enough,
no, I'll pick the Eagles, but I really think Atlanta will play a lot better game than they did last week. And
I agree. I think they will too. I still got the Eagles, but I do expect much better game out of Cousins, Drake London, and Pitts and Bijan. I just expect him to be good because he is, But yeah. So, all right. Well, that is your week 2 preview. Hope you got something out of it. Make sure you get your lineup set. Keep your eye on the injury report because it's going crazy over this tomorrow. You'd better know who's healthy and who's not before you set that lineup for Sunday. I'm Lonnie. He is Jake. Thanks for listening, and we will catch you on the next one.